This is one of my favorite places in Rome, in the Capitoline Museum. This is a Fabricius Bridge, which is the oldest continuously operating bridge connecting the city of Rome to the only island in the Tiber, the Tiberine Island, which is right in the center of Rome. And it's a place associated with healing. Originally in the ancient world there was a temple to Aesculapius, and since the 1500 now there is a very large hospital that serves the people of Rome. It's called Fate Bene Fratelli, Do Good Brothers. I love that name. Inside this case, which is modern, from the American architect Richard Meyer, is Emperor Augustus's Altar of the Peace, and this is the first contemporary building in the heart of historic Rome. I did a little watercolor of it, and as you can imagine, it was very controversial. And Vittorio Sgarbi, who's a famous and vocal art critic, called it a Texas gas station in the middle of Rome. I like it. It protects the monument from the elements and from the traffic, which is very much a problem in this part of town along the Tiber. And there's a lot of water, and it's just a beautiful spot. Here at the Colosseum, and I did a little watercolor of the Arch of Titus, and you can see it there along the Via Sacra that takes from the area of the Colosseum to the Roman Forum. And there's the other big arch, the Arch of Constantine. The Arch of Titus is older. And this is it on the Forum. And one of the important things about this arch is its last representation of the menorah, because it commemorates the destruction of the Temple of Jerusalem, the Temple of Solomon, by Titus. And this is the menorah that was then assumed as the symbol of Israel's flag. This is a Basilica of Saint Cecilia in Trastevere, and it's one of my favorite spaces in Rome. It's so quiet, this little garden, and I did a little painting of it. And I'll show you the statue inside. This is the inside of Saint Cecilia. She's a saint protector of musicians. And the statue by Stefano Maderno is remarkable because supposedly he was there when her body was excavated in the 1600s, and this is the exact position she was found in. She was martyred, and you can see the signs of decapitation. Not to be morbid, but there they are. Inside Santa Cecilia. This is the Church of the Araceli, and it's right next to Capitoline. These guys are nuts. This is the Church of Santa Maria in Araceli on the Capitoline Hill. And there's this gorgeous Byzantine Madonna from the 11th or 12th century. Oh, we can actually get her here. And a little painting of it, of course. Because I love her. She's an advocate, Madonna. This is Campo de' Fiori, which is a square in Rome where every morning there is a beautiful big market with everything. It's become a little touristy, but still. And what's unique about this square is that there is no major church, but there is a monument. And the monument is to a heretic named Giordano Bruno, who was burnt at the stake right here in 1600 for his heretical ideas. He was a monk. And when Rome was liberated from the control of the popes, a monument was erected here. Obviously, the church wasn't going to erect a monument to a heretic. And he's looking very intensely against the popes at the Vatican. So his face is turned towards the Vatican that burned him. And I did a little watercolor of him. This is Piazza Barberini with the Bernini's Triton fountain, and I did a little painting of bees because the Barberini family had bees as their emblem. So you see bees all over Rome on things that they paid for. This is the smallest obelisk in Rome, and it's on top of an elephant famously designed by Gian Lorenzo Bernini. I did a little watercolor from this perspective, and he's a symbol of wisdom. And what's interesting, this is called Il Pulcino della Minerva, the chick of Minerva. And the reason is that it was considered fat and called porcino, which means little pig, and that sounds like the Roman version of porcino, chick. And it's built over a spot that was a temple of Isis, and then a temple of Minerva, and now a temple to the Virgin Mary. So this place is called Santa Maria sopra Minerva. And there was a Dominican that lived here. This, by the way, is where Galileo was kept for a while imprisoned. It's a Dominican, and this Dominican that made fun of Bernini. Bernini set up the elephant so that it shows its butt to him. I'm in Piazza del Popolo, and that is Porta Flaminia. And Porta Flaminia was built, the date is 1655, to welcome a special woman to Rome, Queen Christina of Sweden, who abdicated her throne, renounced her Protestant religion, converted to Catholicism, moved to Rome. Did a little portrait of her. She was a formidable woman who got everything she wanted, even though she was quite unattractive. And we share a name and a similarly bossy personality, so I'm intrigued by her. She's one of just 3 women buried in St. Peter's Basilica, among other unique things about her. The Spanish Steps, and this is the house where John Keats died. He came to Rome hoping to get better from his bad health because of the good weather, and instead he died very young. And I did a little watercolor with one of his quotations that I love. The poetry of earth is never dead. Probably the most graceful of all Roman fountains, the Fontana delle Tartarughe, the old Jewish ghetto. And we see young boys playing with turtles. This is Rome's Tempio Grande, or the Great Synagogue of Rome. It's one of the largest in Europe, but more importantly, I think it's one of the most touching, impressive, beautiful places of worship in Rome. There is a sense of the sacred in this entire quarter that has been so ravaged by its neighbors, as well as supported by many of its neighbors, that I just feel a great sense of the divine. And this is my little homage. It's a lot more colorful than the original, but also the sun is not shining, so it's the original looks less colorful than it really is. This is a Jewish restaurant where we go every year, and their specialty is artichokes, Jewish style, and here they're getting ready to cook them. These are already prepared, and this is what they look like straight out of the plants. Here's the Galleria di Arte Moderna in Rome. And here's Ali, modern art herself. John's favorite painting in this museum, Sogni, Dreams, by Vittorio Corcos, 1896. John. I did a little painting of this Amedeo Modigliani portrait of Anka Zborowska from 1917. I made it a little bit more colorful. And I love this is by a woman, Antonietta Raphael Maffei, 1936. Three sisters. But this is a personal favorite of mine. La Visita by Silvestro Lega, 1868. So this is the monument to Victor Emmanuel, or the altar of the fatherland. And if you look closely, in the center of it is also a altar to the unknown soldier, and it's always guarded by a flame and two armed military. And I did a little watercolor of it. This is the Rome Zoo, one of the oldest in Europe. It's pretty amazing, the white tiger. I'm not even zooming. She's right here. There's Grevy's zebras at the Rome Zoo. Well, of course I had to do a little zebra painting, but this is with black iron oxide, whereas Grevy's zebras seem kind of brown. This is Via della Conciliazione. It's a street that goes into St. Peter's. I did a little watercolor of it, and it wasn't until the 1930s that this street existed. Before it was all buildings here, so you couldn't see the square until you got up really close. Then in the 1930s, Mussolini displaced all the people that lived here, moved them to the outskirts of Rome, destroyed their homes, and built this street, in part to please the Pope, because just recently he and the Pope had agreed that the Pope would accept the Italian state for the first time since 1870. This is through the Lateran Patti Lateranensi, or Lateran Treaty. So this is called conciliazione. It's a conciliation between the Pope and the Italian state. This is my little watercolor of Via dei Fori Imperiali, which you see right here, and it goes from the Colosseum that you see at the end all the way to Piazza Venezia. And before Mussolini this was all inhabited, but as you see it dissects the two fora, the two Roman fora, and he displaced all the people that used to live in buildings that were on the street in order to create this monumental road that he called Via dell'Impero. So it caused a lot of social problems, but one could say that it is one of the most famous roads in the world, and in fact quite beautiful. And you have the beautiful umbrella pines. And my little watercolor. This is the Fountain of the Books, and it's one of several small fountains commissioned in the 1930s of Pietro Lombardi to represent different neighborhoods of Rome. Here we are in the area of La Sapienza, which is Rome's oldest university, and therefore books are important. And also the name of this rione, this neighborhood of Rome, is Sant'Eustachio, Saint Eustace. And Eustachio was a Roman soldier who saw a vision of a stag with a cross between his horns, and that's when he converted to Christianity. So his symbol is the stag, and this is a little watercolor I did of it. Sant'Eustachio also gives the name to one of Rome's most popular coffee places, and as you can see there's a line even though it's Saturday afternoon. You can imagine what it's like in the morning. And this is the church of Sant'Eustachio, and you can see the stag. The most beautiful view of Rome from the top of the Aventine Hill and the Garden of the Oranges.